Let's talk because I feel like as our world gets disconnected, what's really important and what is so magical is, it's as if your generation and my generation are connected in certain ways. I mean, there's people you could just connect with, and it's because you went through the same things. You grew up, your sisters, siblings, you knew each other. There was sort of this family thing. And I feel like the understanding of what is community, it's getting a little tougher in Aspen because what's happening is the people who come in for 2 weeks here and there are living there, as opposed to the people who actually go to school and live there all the time. And so it's a different kind of...
Let's pose that question to you, Caroline. How do you feel about the community now that you're back? And, is it different? Is it, exacerbated as far as what Andy's talking about, where a lot of the community things have been changed, or I want to say lost? Or tell us what you feel.
Then and now, maybe.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's all fair game.
Yeah, I've gone down. I think Roger puts it best. I read his column every week, and I'm firmly in his, grumpy old local camp. Over the years, I've interviewed a lot of people, and one of the conversations I had that struck me so much was, the architects of the ZGZP. We used to think that stood for zero growth, zero population, and I know that's apocryphal, but those guys in the 70s, those really, really prescient Pitkin County commissioners, Joe Edwards, Dwight Shellman, and Michael Kinsley, who saw what we had up here in this beautiful end of the valley and wanted to protect it and wanted to make sure that it didn't get spoiled. And so, clamp down on things. They were the ones who didn't allow neon signs. They didn't want chains. They didn't want all of that, which had unintended consequences, which we're all living with now. But one of the things that Michael Kinsley, when I interviewed him, said was the problem with it, as he saw it, one of the problems with it is that when people come to a place and fall in love with it, they want it to be exactly as they fell in love with it. They want it to be like women are supposed to be, as when we get married to men, we just want to change them. Men want us never to change. That's a stupid analogy, but
yeah, but no,
really? Never change. I love you, never change.
You're right.
Anyway, so in his view, when people come, they want it to just be frozen in amber, just like that. So extrapolate that out to 5 years ago, 10 years ago, even 15 years ago. People who come here fall in love with the Aspen that is Aspen today. They love the glamour, they love the glitz, they love the paparazzi, they love the celebrity, they love the exclusivity, that's what they love. So to me, that sort of encapsulates what's wrong with it, what has become not Aspen anymore.
It's the VIP thing versus like where, the Pepke's, every event and thing they did, there was always a public area for public folks to come in, or a cheap alternative for seats to go to the music fest or whatever. So there was always this desire to connect the old with the new and to sort of bring folks together in a way, whereas now it's about VPing everything. Oh, what level are you? Can you pay $3,000 for this one thing? I mean, lift tickets, $3,000 for a season pass, when the locals used to get it for $120.
That's right.
I feel like the pass thing is a big deal because in my mind, the Ski Corp used to use that. Well, actually, it was Highlands, and so it was Whit Jones, and it was independent, and so that was a little different. But it was more of a marketing leader, because the locals were up there. The locals knew how to ski. The locals made skiing look good. They kind of filled the chairs. They kind of were around and talking. And so it was, in a way, it was a lost leader for marketing to give the locals a cheap pass. And the cutoff was Thanksgiving. It was perfect. It was awesome. And then they changed that, and it became no opportunities for nobody, you know?
Yep. I think also, I'm not sure if this is how society is moving, or if this is more a flavor of Aspen in general, but back in the day, whether they had a bunch of money or not, because there were always people that came who had a lot of money, or celebrities, but they wanted to fit in with us.
Yeah.
They didn't want to just hang out in exclusive clubs or just hobnob with each other. They wanted to, you know, it was the town car was the Jeep Wagoneer,
right?
And the outfit was the Jerry down jacket. You know, it wasn't when you came to town, you wanted to be part of the town. And now I think it's so much more.
So it's Miami, Dallas, and
hanging out
Beverly
with each
Hills
other
all in one. And
yes,
the culture has changed. I mean, you know, every time I hear Supertramp, I'm thinking of RP's Pizza. You know, I can't help it. I'm looking at Pinball Palace, and I'm sitting there waiting for my friends to get their pizza, you know, and that as soon as I hear that, any of those songs, it throws me right back to that, you know?
Yeah. And I guess, you know, I just think there's critical mass that we've lost because of the Michael Kinsley's adage, which I believe, about people falling in love with it as it was when they arrived. And so now there's more people here that fell in love with the new Aspen than with the old Aspen. And here's an example. I just was at a picnic up at the Bells with a bunch of people who live here. Not old timers, but some decent newish people. I mean, people who've been here for 20 years, I still consider to be newcomers. But they said, you know, this year's Ideas Fest was really a kind of a swing and a miss as far as they were concerned, because in their take, what used to be the public events, so you could, if you were a local and you just wanted to go to an event, you could buy a ticket for, you know, $30 or $35 to just go see one thing. Right. Today, they refashioned that so that now to go to one event, it's $250, and it means you go to the event, but then there's a reception after, and then they're coupling with the music festival. So there's a concert, and there's food, and there's this whole thing. And they were like, that's the exact opposite of what the spirit of it should be, because these are people who were working. Like, they can't take 5 hours off to go sit.
Right. Yeah, it's the Pepke. It's the Pepke philosophy. You know, they started all this, and they brought all this stuff together. But what the idea was a lot like what John Denver was trying to do with WinStar. It was about bringing people together over issues and talking about things that were important of the time. And that was really it, just bringing people together. Whereas now it's isolating people, you know, and it's really weird. Well, you know, you say about Aspen, but here's the thing. There are people coming in from Dallas and Miami and San Francisco that want to change Portland. Portland was really, when I got here in '89, it was really cool. It had sort of the artsy, funky folks and Gus Van Sant with his films and stuff. And now it really has sort of changed, and all those old buildings, those old Northwest buildings, torn down, and up goes a cement glass house.
The point that strikes me is that back in the days of like Elizabeth Pepke and when they were building towns like Aspen or nice resort towns that were not the Disneyfication of it or whatever you want to call it. But back then, I mean, there was a distinct line between, you know, they were like, there's ways you can make money. In the case of the Pepkes, I think it was cardboard boxes or something.
Yeah, it was cardboard.
And then there's ways that you enjoy life. And now there's been a cultural shift to there's ways you make money, and there's things that you can always monetize. So no matter what it is, you monetize. You know, if you could bottle happiness, they would monetize it, you know. And I think that's just sort of a capitalist, I don't know, what it is, but it's different from when we were younger. And I think, Carolyne, one of the things you said was the people that came, there were people that were rich and there were celebrities that came in the 50s, the 60s, and the 70s.
But we had Champion Auto Parts.
They didn't want to necessarily buy up the town and own everything. And they more wanted to just hang out and party or just for the community.
I think George Stranahan is a perfect example of a person that came into town with money, and what did he do? There were business opportunities, but a lot of those business opportunities were to help people out. The paper's falling down, so what does he do? I'm interested in the paper, so what does he do? He goes in and does that, he's got some friends that want to do a brew pub, and so he gets involved with that. Yes, it was a business, and he wanted to make it into something, but it started with a heart, and I feel like that's kind of what's lost is the heart. The business part's there, but the heart is not,
Yeah.